Welcome. Once work moves into retries, workers, or queues, the business idea may stay the same, but the correctness problem changes. Now we have to ask whether the workflow still behaves under delay, repetition, interruption, or abandonment, and that is why evidence and invariance matter here. Now that the premise is clear, the pressure becomes visible. Retries can force compensation, and exhausted retries push work into a dead-letter queue. The real question is whether we can explain what happened and defend the invariant we care about.
So these are not separate tools, but one chain of failure handling.
Exactly. The chain is pressure, response, and proof. If you name the tool first and the invariant second, you usually miss the design problem. Before we choose any retry policy, notice the boundary itself. A caller in queues work, a worker handles it later, and those are not the same moment in time. In queue, delivery, side effect, and acknowledgement are separate events, and any of them can fail or repeat.
Is the main risk that the system starts treating delivery as if it were completion?
Yes, that hidden assumption is what breaks the design under pressure. The job is to design for separation instead of pretending it is still one straight-line method call. Retries need a policy. An exponential backoff is the classic one. Instead of hammering a struggling dependency, the system waits longer between attempts so it does not become part of the outage.
So backoff is mainly about being polite to the downstream service?
Polite, but also defensive. The trade-off is that you protect the downstream system while accepting slower recovery for the caller. So the real question is what invariant the retry is preserving and whether the wait pattern is safe enough to prove. That leads into compensation. If payment succeeds and shipping fails, the system has already changed the world, and now it must undo that earlier success with a refund or some other corrective action.
Is compensation just rollback with a different name?
Not quite. Rollback usually assumes a local transaction. Compensation is a deliberate recovery action after partial success in a distributed workflow. So it preserves a larger invariant while introducing its own timing and audit concerns. When retries are exhausted, a dead letter queue gives the message a place to go instead of looping forever or disappearing. That makes the failure visible and reviewable.
But doesn't a DLQ mean the system failed to recover automatically?
Yes, and that is the point. It is a controlled failure boundary. The automated path stops, and now an operator has evidence to inspect and a decision to make. Now the failure gets concrete. A worker performs the side effect, crashes before acknowledgement, and the queue redelivers the same work to another worker. From the outside, both attempts may look reasonable, but the customer sees duplicate or inconsistent outcomes.
Why did the happy path test miss that?
Because the sequential case never exposed the gap between execution count and delivery count. This is why logs, delivery IDs, and item potency evidence matter. They let you prove the mismatch instead of guessing about it. So the protected property is that retries should not inflate side effects or hide lost work. One response is item potency keys, durable completion records, and retry-safe handlers that can tell whether the work already happened.
Isn't adding that state just making the system more complicated?
It does add state and coordination, but that is the trade-off for correctness under pressure. The point is to protect the invariant first, then choose the mechanism that makes the failure observable and recoverable. Here is the practical comparison. A simple baseline is easy to build, but it often hides the timing and pressure assumptions that matter most. A guarded or item-potent design protects the invariant directly, but it asks for more state and stronger evidence.
So in an integrity packet, what should I defend first?
Defend the property, then the mechanism, then the evidence. Say what must remain true, what you changed to preserve it, and what failure evidence convinced you the baseline was not enough.